Oh, she appeared like magic.
It worked.
It worked. All right. So let me do an introduction so you can just share your insights. But this is a good start, everybody. Look, Sophie's actually a great friend, and she is going to be talking about how you can be successful leveraging LinkedIn as a sales tool. She's business development for Venatrix. So many of you might be aware that she's been responsible for finding SDRs for over 300 SaaS companies in the UK over the last 4 years, working alongside Elaine Tyler. She's known to be particularly gutsy with her sales approach, and also she's made over 1,000 placements in those 4 years working alongside Elaine. So the next 7 or so minutes are all to you, Sophie. Good luck.
Thank you very much. So hello, everyone. I'm sure I have cold called, interviewed, or shared a glass of wine with most of you at one of James's events. But for those that don't know me, my name is Sophie Allan, and I am the Business Development Director of Venatrix. We specialise in placing sales development representatives into SaaS businesses in London and other major European cities. And I'm in charge of our business development strategy and generating the majority of our clients. So my talk today is going to be about LinkedIn. LinkedIn has played a huge part in our success as a business and has really helped us to become the most well-known SDR recruitment company within the SaaS industry in London, helping us win over 400 SaaS partner clients and place over 1,000 candidates into SDR roles. This talk is going to follow the Magic 3 formula, and I'm going to cover 3 key areas, which are expanding your network, direct messaging, and posting content, with the overriding objective being to help all of the SDRs listening today to feel more confident, with using LinkedIn as a sales tool and using it to leverage your own personal brand and the brand of the organization that you're working for. So let's start with expanding your network. If you're an SDR, it can be really difficult to leverage the power of LinkedIn if you don't have many connections. So my best advice to anybody starting out in their career or early on in their career that wants to build their network is really think about who your customer is. Who is the person that's going to buy your product? And make sure that you target yourself on adding 50 people that fit that profile on a day-to-day basis. A good place to start is also to add everybody that your company already works with. When you add a new connection, it's really important to always include a personalized message. And I would advise everybody to try and avoid terms like, I hope you're well, or would love to connect, and really show that extra level of detail by giving the new connection the reason that you want to connect with them and the reason that connecting with you is going to add value to them. A huge thing in sales at all levels is being authentic, but I think as an SDR, you can also use the fact that you are new and starting out in your career and trying to build your network to really get some empathy with your clients, be relatable, and encourage them to want to connect with you and give you a chance. One of the best things about increasing your network on LinkedIn is that you can then start to generate mutual connections with the people that you're trying to sell to, which is always really useful as a reference point when engaging in new conversations. Once you've started to build your network, make sure that you don't just become a silent observer on LinkedIn. Make sure that you get involved in your customers' content. So you need to give them lots of likes, get involved in their posts, ask questions, and share their content so that they see your name popping up. People are always going to remember how you make them feel. And when they get a like, naturally, they're going to get an endorphin boost and they're going to start to like you. By getting involved in their content, you can start to generate your own credibility on LinkedIn. And one of the best compliments that you can get from somebody early on in your career is that they recognize your name or your face from LinkedIn. So the next thing that I want to talk about is direct messaging. Because LinkedIn is an instant chat function, it can be really difficult to get the balance of being really sociable, fun, and salesy, as you would do maybe on a different social platform like Facebook or Instagram, and maintain a level of professionalism and still add value to the people that you're messaging. And this is something that I've definitely got wrong many times myself. So the challenge with direct messaging, and in fact any kind of messaging in sales, is that it's highly subjective. So what works for some people might not work for others. So going back to my earlier point, you need to really think about who your customer is and how that person would want to be messaged. For me, I'm mainly selling to VPs of sales and founders, so my approach is quite direct and salesy, but you really need to find your own voice as a salesperson that's going to resonate with your customers and be authentic to yourself and your style. Before you message somebody, make sure you don't get caught out by missing something vital that you could include in your message to demonstrate that you've done your homework. So always check their most recent posts to see if there's anything notable that you can include in the message. Once someone has accepted me on LinkedIn, what I tend to do is send a LinkedIn voice note as opposed to a typed out message, because you can say something that's fairly generic, i.e. what your company does, why you're getting in touch, and how you think you can help them, but you can make it a lot more salesy and passionate by using the intonation in your voice. Because LinkedIn is an instant function, quite often the message is going to appear on your customer's phone or laptop. So when they see that you've sent them a voice note, it immediately creates an element of intrigue and it makes them more likely to listen and respond. I've found that the majority of people do listen to the voice notes that I send because it's more personal and harder to ignore. I know that video is a really big thing in sales these days, and I definitely would encourage using videos to get in touch with new prospects, but voice notes are a quicker way for you and also for your customer. Once you've sent your voice note, if somebody doesn't respond, then my best advice would be to really try and avoid sending constant follow-up messages, asking them if they've read the above, wondering if you're interested, because when you read these back, they just come across as really desperate and they add absolutely no value. To put it crudely, in the context of dating, you wouldn't chase and chase someone that wasn't replying to you. So why do we do it to our customers? So something that I found that works really well for me, and I know that Safe from Cognism has had a lot of success with this type of thing as well, is sending emojis and GIFs. What I'm trying to do here is capture the customer's attention, make them laugh, and interact with them in a slightly different way. It's always really important to remember that your customer is a buyer at work, but a consumer and a normal person at home. And they're probably in WhatsApp groups with their friends, sending funny GIFs and memes on a daily basis. So 2 emojis that have worked really well for me in the past. The first one is sometimes I send a broken heart if someone hasn't replied to me, and that always gets a haha, and then I can take the conversation from there. Or if I feel like someone's ghosted me that I have had a conversation with, quite often I will just send the ghost emoji and put have you ghosted me, which 9 times out of 10 does get a response. With regards to GIFs, obviously there's lots of different ones that you can play around with. I tend to use GIFs that have song lyrics on top of them and then incorporate the lyrics into what I'm trying to say to the customer in a clever way. And a personal favourite of mine is a GIF of Adele that says the words "Hello, it's me" on it. Because everybody knows that song, it always gets a laugh, and then you can take the conversation from there. And what I'm trying to do here is not engage in a really deep discovery conversation on LinkedIn Messenger, but to make enough of an impact on that customer that they then agree to have a conversation with me on the phone or on Zoom. The final thing that I want to talk about is posting content. So this is something that we are really, really passionate about at Venatrix. And it all started when my amazing colleague, Tara Jackson, who I'm sure you all know, joined our business and started posting selfies on LinkedIn. So at first, people were telling us that we were using LinkedIn like it was Instagram and the posts weren't necessarily that appropriate. But over time, our strategy went from organic to strategic, and now it plays a key part in us establishing our brand and getting messages out to our customers and candidates. And I would definitely say that the content that we post is now considered a really reliable source if you are an SDR looking for an opportunity, or if you are a SaaS business looking to hire an SDR. The biggest piece of advice that I have for posting content is always really think about what is my objective before you post, because there's nothing worse than doing a post for the sake of it and then looking back and thinking that it didn't really add much value to anybody, didn't get many likes, nobody really commented on it, and it just falls flat on its face. So really think, what's my objective and what do I want my customers to associate with me when they see my content and my posts? If anybody follows Venatrix on LinkedIn, then I'm sure you'll have seen our very energetic videos that we post, where we normally start with a good morning LinkedIn, and we talk in very theatrical voices. Quite often we're outside, we're in our gym gear, and that's because the brand that we're trying to portray is one that's very proactive and positive, which reflects the type of companies that we want to work with and the type of candidates that we want to place. So again, it goes back to the authenticity piece, finding something that really suits you and your business and your customer. The final thing that I would say before I run out of time, especially if you're early on in your career, is be consistent. So give yourself a target, hold yourself accountable to it, and try and create 3 posts a week that are really creative, really thoughtful, and are going to add value to your audience. Thank you very much for listening to me, and please do add me on LinkedIn after this talk.